One of the stars just died hours before their audition was supposed to air. When the news broke, the entire stage felt silent. The judges were devastated. These are the 10 beloved America's Got Talent contestants who tragically passed away, and stick to the number 1 because that will shock you. Before we begin, subscribe to our channel if you want to see more entertainment industry stories like these. 10. Nightbirde.
I have not been working for quite a few years. I've been dealing with cancer.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Starting with Jane Markevsky, who was known to millions as Nightbirde. Why? Because she would always see the same dream where birds were singing together at night, waiting for the sun to arrive. She walked onto the AGT stage in 2021, but something was really off about her. Jane looked quite skinny compared to how she started. In reality, she was going through one of the painful phases of her life. She had cancer that not only spread to her lungs, but it was also destroying her bones. Even after going through so much pain, this female warrior refused to give up. Instead, she poured all her time and energy into her music. She started singing "It's Okay," and it would change her life in just a few days. She became quite popular. The lines of her song were about survival, pain, and faith, all of which made her survive this long. But no one knew that she would go through the next. But most people didn't know what she was suffering behind that soft smile. The thing is, Jane already survived pain longer than most people would ever be able to. Maybe it was her marriage, or the illness she was suffering from. At one point, the doctor told her that she only had a 2% chance of surviving, but she still pushed herself. Jane wrote music, she showed up, and she chose joy instead of becoming a victim. However, someone can be strong for so long, and then her health started declining quickly after the show. She started posting updates from her bed, still encouraging others not to give up, no matter how much life puts you down. Finally, on the 19th of February 1922, Nightbirde died, aged just 31. Even today, millions of people still repeat her quote while pursuing greatness in life, and she lost. And on that day, we lost one of the most aspiring singers. Not only the most aspiring singers, but also a personality that we will never forget. 9. Brandon Rogers.
All new at 5:30 tonight, the Hampton Roads community is remembering a local doctor turned viral sensation for his voice. Celebrities, along with doctors at Riverside Brentwood Medical Center where he worked, are paying tribute to the talented doctor who they say is gone too soon.
Brandon Rogers was the doctor with a voice even heaven couldn't wait for. This guy had a gift so rare that to most Indonesians, it seemed fair. He not only had healing in his hand, but also in his voice. As a doctor, Brandon worked exhausting shifts, but at night, he sang the tenderness of someone who understood pain deeply and was in the trenches for so long that he himself changed. Then came the time Brandon posted a video covering Boys to Men, and his fame blew up. He touched the hearts of millions around the world simply through his musical impact. Then in March 2017, he stepped on stage and performed Stevie Wonder's "Ribbon in the Sky." This cover became so popular that all the judges stood up. The audience screamed in joy. And here everyone knew that Brandon had everything needed to become the next superstar. But fate had other plans for him. Just weeks before his audition was set to air, tragedy struck. It was June 10, 2017, when Brandon had a car accident. The accident was so bad that he did not even survive. His audition aired later as a tribute. Today, he is in the hearts of millions who watched the show. 8. Nolan Neal. While Brandon Rogers' voice carried joy and beauty, Nolan Neal's voice was built from pain. Every note he hit seemed like the confession of his sadness. His lyrics showed scars. Before going to AGT, he had already lived a life of struggle that most people would only face in a lifetime. One of the tragedies was his father's death when he was very young. From there, music was the only outlet to break him free from the cycle of hopelessness and heal himself. Throughout his pain, Nolan kept writing songs, hundreds of them, with each containing a pain that the audience felt. After he appeared on AGT in 2020, he sang the original song "Lost," which he wrote with battle scars. As soon as he sang, his voice cracked, and it broke the audience's hearts wide open. Instantly, he got 4 yeses due to the sheer intensity of his emotions. But life outside the stage was far more messed up, and it proved in his case. It was the 18th of July 2022, when Nolan was found dead in his apartment from an accidental overdose. He was 41 years old. Even Simon Cowell later said Nolan's death hit him deeply because he understood the pain of the poor guy who was trying desperately to find peace. His story is a complete reminder to us all of the pains we don't see. 7. Skilyr Hicks. Next is Skilyr Hicks, She was just 14 when she first came on AGT in 2013. This is also something that makes it so painful. In her audition, she came out with a guitar in her hand. However, she was looking shy. But still, she was determined enough to make a name for herself. She told the judges she had written a song that was made for her father, who had passed away. So after she sang her song, her performance felt almost unreal. It had a level of pain that had never been seen. Millions of viewers instantly started talking about her, giving the younger one a lot of fame. However, what most people didn't know was that Skilyr was going through a lot of mental health issues, a period of instability, and many moments where she would just vanish from home and her loved ones. This would terrify her family. However, her pain was also quite visible in her music. After years of making music and becoming popular, on December 26, 2021, Hicks was found dead at a friend's home. She was a brilliant young songwriter who had gone too far too soon and could become the next Sabrina Carpenter. 6. Zuri. Craig Lewis Band was rather popular back in the day, and most people remember Zuri Craig from that very group. He and Jeffrey G. Wise brought soul music back to life, and this genre that was getting less famous every single day came back with the band. Their performance earned respect, gave them fame, and took over the world at one point. However, Zuri wasn't just a singer. He was also working as a filmmaker on the site. His storytelling was his art, and he was part of a loving family who constantly lifted each other up. Finally, in October 2022, America's Got Talent community was stunned when news broke that Zuri had died unexpectedly at the age of 14. Interestingly, his family didn't even reveal any details, but the world was sad to see such a talented musician die. Before we move on to the next entry, please subscribe to this channel if you love more untold stories like these. 5. Emily Paul, Murrieta Dance Team. Move over, Emily Paul, who was just 17 when she first came on the America's Got Talent stage. She came as part of her high school dance group. Interestingly, she wasn't the loudest or the most famous member of her band. However, she was the best part of the team. There are some people you could always lean on, and Emily Paul was that same person for her band. One stage, she carried pressures that no teenager would ever do, but no one knew that behind closed doors, she was suffering. On September 13th, 2024, Emily died by suicide. This news devastated the world, from her school, her parents, and the AGT community. Everyone was not expecting it. The judges even said they remembered the bright energy Emily had amongst thousands of contestants who came on the show. My life was short, but it was very impactful. 4. Scott Alexander. Scott Alexander was the magician who left too soon. He was one of the rare performers who didn't need any explosion or vocal talent in order to succeed. His magic wasn't even loud, rather it was more elegant. On AGD, he became one of the most popular people for his illusion magic. From levitations, dramatic transformations, and routine, he looked like he belonged in Las Vegas. But after his time on AGT, he continued building his career as a magician. However, behind closed doors, no one knew what he was going through. In February 2023, while he was on a missionary trip in the Dominican Republic, tragedy struck. He suffered a sudden stroke and died of a heart attack at the age of 52. 3. Neal Boyd. Finally, we are at our third tragic death, which is Neal Boyd. He was a dreamer among everyone. Growing up in a poor Missouri neighborhood, he discovered or read The Age of 6. According to him, it was like hearing a God's voice. And when he auditioned for AGD in 2008, he was sweating, nervous, and gasping. But the moment he opened his mouth, he gained confidence from God himself. His voice was beautiful, golden, and brimming with emotion. By the finale, Neal had already become the champion of Season 3. He not only won, but he also won millions of dollars, toured the whole country, and even sang for many U.S. presidents. But what the public did not know was that his health was fragile. He was suffering from many issues, like heart problems, high blood pressure, and physical injuries from a car accident. And then, on June 10, 2018, he died of heart failure at just the age of 42. Even today, his hometown honors him every single year, remembering the boy who came from nothing and built everything. 2. Richard Goodall. Have you seen a janitor turn his life around? That's Richard Goodall for you. He worked as a school janitor for over 2 decades. Students loved him because he sang while he slept in the halls, or even did other tasks that were his main income. However, the world only discovered him when a video of him singing "Don't Stop Believin'" at a school event went viral. In 2024, he auditioned for AGD. At first, He was nervous and shaking. But after he stepped up to the microphone, the entire room started cheering for him. By the time he finished, Haley Crum had already hit the golden buzzer, automatically making him the winner of the audition. But behind it all, he was suffering badly. In late 2024, just months after his AGT audition, he died suddenly. 1. Jacky Bibby. The Texas Snake Man was pretty popular that day. He appeared on AGT in 2010, shocking America by performing one of the most dangerous transfers. The interesting thing about his name was that it wasn't just made up. He did spinny stunts with rattlesnakes. His stunts were so entertaining that he made crowds jump out of their seats with his risk-taking performances. And it wasn't before danger eventually became reality, because in 2020, Jacky died during an accidental fall during his rehearsal. He lived a long life of 69, but even though he wasn't a singer or a dancer, he was still a man the world would never forget for his craft. These were the 10 artists who became a symbol of hope, pain, and resilience for the AGT crowd. Let us know whose death was most painful to you, and subscribe to our channel if you want more videos like these.